I'm Mike Gibson, and this is ExPatting Russia. I've lived in Russia for 27 years, and I totally love this place. So I thought I'd share some Russian stories with you. This is a big country with a big heart and big stories to tell. Here we are, situated in a beautiful and historical old part of downtown Moscow, and we're about to go into the Russian Icon Museum, which is the largest private collection of icons in Russia. The museum was founded by the Russian philanthropist Mikhail Abramov. He collected icons from all over the world and returned them to their homeland in Russia. There are about 6,000 works of Byzantine and ancient Russian art from the 14th to 20th centuries.
Конечно же, это вклад его в сохранение культурного наследия, и каждая из наград, которая здесь представлена, это какой-то крупный проект.
Love icons. They are very much part of life in Russia. You find them in all the churches you visit. All the big art museums in Russia have collections, and there are legendary icon painters like Andrei Rublev, about whom a cult movie exists made by Tarkovsky. So this is the very first icon in the collection. This icon depicts the most important and revered archangel, Michael. He is the head of the holy host of angels and archangels.
Вот эта икона, написанная в Вологде, север легко узнать. Смотрите, это такие яркие пятна красного, синего, охры, да. Это вологодский памятник из Деисуса. Деис – это главный чин любого православного иконостаса.
So we're now standing in front of a deisis, which is a traditional art form, always with Christ in the middle holding a book, flanked by Mary and John the Baptist, and then other various characters, all in supplication to Christ in the middle. The museum has a unique post-Byzantine iconostasis from the 18th century, which used to be located on the island of Kefalonia in Greece. According to the icons of the middle or royal row, it is possible to determine which saints were worshipped in this church.
Храм является синтезом всех искусств. Мы приходим в храм, мы видим, да, очень красивые фрески, иконы. Мы слышим вот эти тексты, тексты великих святых, да еще положенных на музыку. И мы чувствуем ладан, да, он говорил, искусство запаха.
Icons are the main decoration in the church and an object of veneration in the Orthodox tradition. So this is an example of a Tsarskaya Varota, or like a royal gate, which was in the center of the iconostasis and through which the priest would pass from the back of the church to the front of the church. And this is a particularly touching example. Icons have these special covers called adklad in Russian, which is literally like a gift to the person inside the icon.
Вот это стиль очень ярко узнаваемый Карла Фаберже. Конечно, такой оклад мог заказать только очень богатый и человек, который следил вот за современными традициями.
An icon is a work of art of a very special kind. Of course, it is different from a regular picture. Look at this, the icon of St. Nicholas. She was found in the Arkhangelsk region. It is the oldest in the museum's collection.
Я смотрю на рельсы, да, например, и они сходятся в точку. Но это наоборот, это он смотрит на нас. Это вот именно почему икона не картина.
In the 17th century, the church split into two, the Old Believers and the official Orthodox Church. The church reforms changed rules of behavior in church, as well as the attitude towards some icons. So here is a chapel belonging to the Old Believers, and they come to places like this to pray in secret. Old Believers cross themselves with two fingers, representing Christ the divine and Christ the human, whereas the regular Orthodox use three fingers. This is a most unusual image of a saint with a dog's head. This, of course, is impossible from a Christian point of view, but he was especially revered by the Old Believers, who were cursed at the Great Moscow Council in 1606, and this image was banned. So we've come now to see how icons are created. It's a very special and specific process. Ivan, привет!
Здравствуйте, Майка.
First, you need to prepare a wooden base for the icon.
Липа. мелкотекстурная древесина, ее очень легко обрабатывать во всех направлениях. Доска проклеивается, потом на нее обязательно наклеивается павлока. Если павлоку не наклеить, то вы можете увидеть следующее.
Preparing the wooden base is a complex and long process. When it is ready, the outline of the drawing is applied to the surface. This is an amazing old process. I've always wanted to try this. When I was studying fine art at Oxford, we actually talked about Michelangelo's illustrations, which were pricked for transfer, which is a special technique with little holes, and you push the dust through the little holes in order to make a copy. Now we are preparing paints using old technology. This is egg tempera. It consists of yolk, water, and pigments. It's sticky, and now we're going to grind it like with a pestle. This is a pestle, right? We rub everything well, mix it, and the paint is ready. So let's have a look and see what colour I've made. Ooh, that's quite convincing. So then we take a leafer or linseed oil. I love the smell of that stuff. And we pour it onto the icon. My mama. This is to make it much more bright and to protect the surface. Linseed oil takes about 8 hours to dry and keeps the icon in good condition for many years and even for centuries. So here we are in St Andrew's Church, Moscow, with Father Malcolm, who is the chaplain here, an expert on Russian icons. Welcome, hi.
Hi.
In front of us is a reproduction of the very famous icon by Andrei Rublev, the Holy Trinity, painted around 1425.
And I would say this is one of the greatest gifts that Russian Christianity has given to the world. 3 figures seated around a table. We have the Father, who's in gold, and the Son, Jesus, who's dressed in red with the priest's stole, and the Holy Spirit, who's dressed in green. The same face, and they're the same age. This is not a work of art. This is, you're meant to come and you come into an actual relationship with the 3 persons of the Trinity. And it's often been pointed out that the shape of the Father and the shape of the Son make a cup, a chalice.
Yes. Wow.
And in the center is Jesus.
So today I've learned that the world of icons is something so vast, deep and otherworldly. I'm Mike Gibson and this is ExPatting Russia. I hope you will subscribe to our channel down below and come back and watch us again. Bye. Go and do this. Blah 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 blah. Oh, sorry. Потому что я смотрю на камеру.
Ну, потому что ты...
Okay, дурак, да. I love this know-how. It's gates, the Tsar's gate. Oh, вот так поближе. Oh, okay. Ah.